Hi everyone, welcome to the Deep Breathe. My name is Gary,
I'm Ezra.
and today we are going to be talking about authenticity. So, let's start. Uh, what is authenticity to you, Ezra?
I think deep down, authenticity is a truthfulness to how it's like connecting the way you feel inside to how you act. It's that connection of what's on the inside to what's therefore seen by other people and yourself. It's just basically acting as truthfully and as genuinely as you can, where you're aligned through your thoughts and your actions and how you exist in this world is all kind of connected and truthful and real.
Yeah,
What about you? What do you think?
that's a great definition. Yeah, I think authenticity is being true to yourself and letting that light, your inner light, that soul, who you are, not being afraid to let it shine and project it outward, um, and just being real, like what you see is what you get, kind of thing, um, and not being afraid to put it out there or put on a facade for other people. So living life in alignment with how you're projecting it or showing it to other people. And
I think the word afraid is crucial because I think so much. Hear me out. Like as a child, as you're growing up, you're not necessarily aware of how the world works and other people's opinions. So I think, in your inner child and your childhood, like is so free for the most part. For a lot of people, it is an open, free time. And as the child grows into teenagehood and adulthood, you're balancing all these outside forces, and it's just this whole like kind of dance you have to do in order to get to your true authentic self. But I think once you do get into the middle school, high school years, that fear is like a big component of it, and being afraid to let that light shine, right? Like, what do you?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember in elementary school having a friend that I wanted to be just like, and wanting to, dress like her and be like her, and she was the popular girl and all that stuff, and because she was popular, that's who I wanted to be too. And then past that, I just don't really remember doing that as much. I was always like the weird art kid after that,
Mm-hmm.
which I was okay with that. But I think there is pressure for sure, like peer pressure, and like to be a certain way, pressure from society to be and act a certain way. And so, part of it for me is just not really giving a shit about what other people think,
Not, yeah.
which I'm really good at that. So I know there are lots of people out there who aren't, and I wasn't my entire life, but I think it's just really detaching from what other people think of you, and knowing that, coming back to yourself and knowing yourself enough to
Mm-hmm.
say that this is what's good for my true self and this isn't, regardless of what somebody else thinks, regardless of what parents think, what friends think, what coworkers, society thinks of me. And for a lot of us, it's really hard to get to.
It really is. I think that's kind of the beauty of life in general is just getting to that level where you don't have the fear, you don't have that pressure, and you can just be who you want to be and how you want to be, and just kind of find the beauty in everything around you that starts from within. And that's a huge part of that alignment. Is it's like a tree is growing from within you, and you're letting it grow. If you're not authentic to yourself, that tree is not gonna grow. You're not gonna become this. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a whole thing. It's like you will have the most impact on the most people, I think, when you are authentic to yourself. And I think so many people are trying with social media and whatever that, Instagram, like they're trying to engage all these followers by being a certain way, but when it comes down to it, is that really truly how they think and feel and really align with themselves? I think there's so much today where people are just trying to get likes and engagement and clout, and just by doing crazy stuff, which is not, sometimes it's how they authentically are, but I feel like so much of it is manicured or saccharine. Or, for example, reality TV when it first came out with Real World in the 90s and all that felt very authentic, right? I was too young to really see that, but Real World in 1994 or 5, whatever that was, with the man having HIV and that whole thing, and that felt so real and raw, which was the start of reality TV. As reality TV progressed and progressed, and today on Netflix, reality TV is not authentic at all. And I miss that feeling of reality TV being authentic. And I think the same thing is kind of happening on Instagram and on TikTok. It's like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking about that right now, but do you feel that too? Like, at least with entertainment that happens? Like an authentic...
I mean, for sure. I think I do see what you're saying. I've never really been into reality TV at all.
I love that stuff.
So I don't really know, but I can see, like, if you're comparing it to shows like The Real World. I did watch that.
Like, have you seen Selling Sunset on Netflix?
No.
I mean, it's just, I don't know how to explain it.
But I think I think you can get a lot of followers and a lot of fame from not being authentic. Like, I think people do it all the time. But I also think that eventually, first of all, I think people can feel that. And I also think that if you are successful from not being, like, true to yourself and being authentically you, you're going to lose that at some point. Like people are...
Right.
Like, the gig's going to be up or whatever.
Yes.
Eventually. And so, because... it's not you. So, I think that...
Can I give an example about that? I don't know if you know who, like, remember, like, it was like a year ago, the Island Boys on TikTok. Did you ever see those kids?
Yeah.
With the crazy hair. They just put on such a show and such a...
Were they a band?
They were like these rapper... They had tattoos everywhere on their face. It was engaging, but it was, like, so out there, and it burst into this explosion that died down, and now they're not a thing, because it really was so put on, you know? And you're right, it fades out.
Yeah, it'll fade. I feel like it'll fade out eventually. I can think of, like, maybe not celebrities, but, like, I'm trying to think of somebody that's famous that everybody would know that I feel like is really authentic. Like, it doesn't even have to be a celebrity. It could be, like, a writer or an artist.
I just thought of someone who's a celebrity that's not authentic is Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know if you follow that stuff, but she has been kind of a lot has come out about her treatment of her employees and her guest stars, and how she had such a different way of interacting with people off camera than on camera. And she painted herself as America's nurturing sweetheart mom lesbian figure, and then she's really this dark, cruel, twisted person. She almost made someone quit at a restaurant because their nails weren't done, and, like, they made a big deal about it. And it's like, I kind of got off topic, but it's like some people are so different in different situations, and I think that's a huge part of inauthenticity is you bounce around from group to group, and you're different people.
Well, you're a chameleon, pretty much. Like, you're not... And so, what makes somebody authentic? So let's talk about me and you. So how can you tell that I'm authentic? Or do you think I'm authentic?
I think you're authentic. I think we were talking about this a little bit before, that it's almost an immediate feeling with certain people, and I think it's a number of things. I think it's someone's smile. I think it's how they sound, the words that they say, the energy they emit. Like, everything's coming together to kind of piece together this puzzle of someone presenting to you how they feel inside. And that's really what it is bridging that gap to how they feel and how they show it to you. And I think you did that immediately on the phone when I called you for my first session with you. I'm like, hold up, you're, like, a really cool person. Like, this is, I don't want to get off the phone. And it was just an intake, it was just that first setting up the time to meet. And I could tell just by the phone call. But I think a voice is really powerful too. And I think people who sound loving and connected is a huge part of authenticity. I don't think that's easy to fake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I knew it right away with you too. And the one thing that I love about you is that you're such a light, and you've always been just Ezra. You've never been anyone else ever.
Thank you.
And you've always just been unapologetically you. Like, you just are you. And that's what I love about you. And it's like, so for me, authenticity is like, you let your light shine. I mean, everybody on this planet has light. You can even talk about the most negative person or the most awful person, they still have light. And some people just let that shine, and you really, really let that shine.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring that out in me. And I think that's another thing about authenticity is the more authentic you are, you give other people permission to do the same. And that is one of the main points of, or the main things
Yeah.
of being authentic.
I had a vision in my head. It was like you said, that light of authenticity. It's almost like your warmth is igniting that light, and it's like your lights are glowing together. And I think when you do make friends and meet your partner and create a family or whatever, however you want to surround yourself with people, those lights cling to each other and burn brighter and lift each other up, and you create this circle of fire.
Well, it's kind of like your vibe attracts your tribe, right? I'm sure everybody's heard that saying, and that's what it is. Like, you emit your own vibe, and people are just going to be attracted to it or repelled by it. But you'll attract the people that are going to be in alignment with your true self or with your authenticity.
Or the reverse. If
Or,
you're inauthentic,
yeah,
you
right.
could have all these. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which just brings me to a thought I had earlier today. Was like kind of how high school and now, I loved my high school experience personally, but I do think people that are in their 30s or late 20s and only have high school friends, like, I think that, yes, that's an authentic thing that for some people, but I do think that as you grow into your later years, this is a whole other topic, I guess, about friendships, but like your authentic self, you should be meeting people all the time that can burn that fire with you, and not just sit back with the same 10 friends you've had for 20 years. I think that's just a whole other thing, but I don't know.
I think you'll attract people, and then you'll have to like release people. You know, I think for me, as far as the people that I surround myself with friendship wise, like the people that I spend the most time around, it's been so easy. I've never had to search for people. I've always had really solid friendships. I've never been somebody that has 40 friends, and like I've always been somebody who has a really like select few amount of friends that I spend a lot of time around, but they're really good quality friendships. Like, I've never had a falling out. Sure, I've had disagreements, but my close friends since middle school all the way up to now are still really close friends. Now, like, my elementary school and middle school and high school friends, I don't see them. They're in Columbus, but I'm still really close to them. And
you are authentically,
yeah.
You don't ever feel like you have to change anything about you.
No.
Which I think is huge. I think so many people in relationships and friendships feel, they might not even realize it, but they're not supported or motive or cared for, or they feel like they have to change something going on, when I think the beauty of authenticity is that you're not changing it for anything or anyone. It's just how it is.
You're being you because I'm being me, because I don't know how to be anything else, and I don't want to put the energy into being anything else, and I don't care to do that for anybody else. And so how do you get there? So how did I get there? Like, how do you become authentic? Because I think a lot of this is fear-based. Like, a lot of people are afraid of being themselves. Like,
I wonder what do you think would impact that? Like, why would you be afraid?
so here's a good example for you. Like, were you ever afraid of coming out to people and being, that's who you are?
Good freaking point.
Like, how did you navigate that?
I think so much of that was in my head because everyone could kind of tell I was gay since being very young, and I think that so much of that is internalized.
Yeah.
The fear is not there. Fear isn't a physical form. It's all, in your head.
Yeah.
I mean, it can keep you, if you're on the edge of a cliff, you need to be fearful to not, fall over. But I think so much of fear in our day-to-day life is
an illusion and something we've made up.
Yeah.
For ourselves. Yeah.
I think that's a big part of, that's a whole other topic, is the LGBTQ community and being out and open in today's world. I think is a leaps and bounds of where like than where it was
Yeah,
20 years
absolutely.
ago, 15 years ago.
I feel like it's getting in a good way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can we give our viewers the tools to be more authentic? Like, how do you become more authentic?
I think number one is who you surround yourself with, and like not or like your societal influences, whether that be the content you're consuming or the conversations you're having or the people that you're visiting and hanging out with at bars or going to their house or parties you're going to. I think when you feel comfortable around people and places, you will soon emit your own authentic fire more easily, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I think so much of not being authentic is, like you said, like either it's fear based or peer pressure, or you want to fit in. So I think number one is your social connections. For me, is huge, and I think that comes with time. I don't think you're gonna realize that in your teens for sure. Maybe not even your 20s or 30s or 40s. That could be a lifelong process for some people. I think I'm at that point. I think you're at that point, but it just depends. What is your one of your reasons?
So I think, like, on the opposite end of the spectrum, yeah, I absolutely think that surrounding yourself with people that bring that out is absolutely important for sure. Like, what the vibe that you and the energy that you surround yourself with is 100% important. Um, but going just something that you can do by yourself without other people, and it's going inward. So I think some people just maybe don't even know who they are
Good
or
point.
what they like. So how do you figure that out? So I'm a yoga teacher and practitioner, and I for me, being with myself, like having a meditation practice, having a spiritual practice where I can really go inward, and the process for me of coming back to myself is doing things that will bring me joy and make me feel like me. So a lot of that is silence, meditation. It's creating, which we had a whole other podcast on creativity, or video on creativity. But I think that it all goes together. So being creative helps bring me back to myself. Drawing brings me back to myself. Anything that you
The word authentic comes from the Greek of authentikos, which is about genuineness, originality,
Yeah.
acting out of your own authority. It's all about the self.
So knowing who you are and what is authentic and in alignment with you, I think is important. And I think people will have a different process to get there, whether it's with other people and then going inward, or starting inward and then like attracting the right people. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do that, but I also think both are important. As you have to know yourself and know how you are authentic and what brings you into alignment with your higher self, which I think is authenticity. And then living what you're, projecting, like
Practicing what you preach.
practicing what you preach, exactly.
Is huge.
So, meditation, I think, is a huge, huge, and even if you're somebody that has never meditated, or you're afraid of it, or you're afraid to, sit and be with your own thoughts for a long period of time, you can start small. You can start with like 2 minutes and see how that goes, and just build your way up.
And I think today I had a moment where I like went down to the river, and you went upstairs, and I was like, I'm by myself. Do I reach for my phone, or do I just spend the next 10 minutes sitting out here, or being in the water, and just feeling and just being connected, and just sitting with myself and my thoughts without music playing or without scrolling on social media. And I think we can get away from ourselves a lot with our distractions. And I do think being authentic to yourself is having a comfortable feeling with sitting in stillness.
And it's not very complicated. Like I can instantly tell when somebody's authentic or inauthentic because of the way it feels. If it feels good and it feels comfortable and it feels easy, then I know it's authentic. But if something feels uncomfortable or forced,
Force is huge.
or if
Fake force.
yeah, or if or if the person is saying a bunch of things that don't really make sense. One of the things that I found in this book that I'm reading, I'm super interested in Kabbalah right now, and in this book I found today, it says authentic truth is always comprehensible to everyone, even children, and not just to the intellectual elite. If an idea or notion is complex and convoluted, chances are it's not the truth.
Do you know what Occam's razor is? It's kind of like
Yeah,
that.
it's like the Occam's
The
razor.
simplest explanation is the
Is
best.
the best. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's what I thought of that too.
Yeah.
So if it's too complicated, the truth or authenticity is something that everybody should understand. And for me, that it's just a feeling, and sometimes it's a feeling I can't even explain.
It's like a sixth sense that everyone has.
Yeah,
It's like
everyone has it.
I think it's an evolutionary thing that we had to, at some point, our brains had to realize instantly whether to trust or not trust something or someone. Let's say they cooked you a stew with a certain berry that might have been poisonous, and you got a weird energy from them, and it's a weird example, but like trust comes into play with authenticity, and like just kind of like fully feeling that just that feeling is powerful.
Yeah, for sure. So why is it important for us as humans to be authentic?
I think it.
Why is that important?
Why
should we
important?
do that? Why should everyone strive to be authentic?
What would you say?
Well, I think that the more people that we have in this world that are authentically them, like truly authentically themselves, I feel like we would live in a much better world. I think there would be less fear, because I think a lot of, like, at the very...
Less war, less violence.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the very basis of all this is fear of being yourself. And also, I think it's also maybe not knowing who you are. But I think it's important because, again, if everybody was living authentically and being their authentic selves, you're giving other people permission to do that, and so that would spread. And then this also taps into creativity, right? So you're authentic, you start creating or doing whatever it is that you authentically do.
I just came up with something.
And then that spreads.
The age of authenticity. I like that. Like that's when it's like the like that utopic society where everyone is authentically creating and connected, and it's just the age of authenticity. It's when everyone feels like they can fully be themselves, because you could be in a situation where you cannot be authentic. Like you could be in an abusive an abusive situation, or maybe you're in high school and you have a weird social situation going on, but there are so many people that are that cannot step out of that just based on their situation, and cannot become authentic until they either take the steps necessary to do something like that. But like I said, it could be a lifelong process.
Oh my gosh, yes. None of this stuff is easy, by the way. Like, we're talking about it like it's easy, and it's not. Like, I still struggle with some things around authenticity with myself, and I just happen to be at and a lot of this comes with age. I'm almost 38 years old. The older you get, I think most people just start not to give a shit about what other people, think of them, because, it takes too much energy for me to put on a facade, energy that I don't have. So I think the older that you get, the more you start to come into yourself, and you start to learn, and you start to be more authentic. But you can also, it is absolutely a lifelong process and practice.
I think sometimes, like, even young kids and teenagers that are really authentic are sometimes made fun of a lot and put down because they're stepping outside that box.
That's the problem. If you're pissing somebody off and somebody's making fun of you, you're probably doing something right.
Right.
Like that, and that's the hard part of living an authentic life, where you're being true to yourself, is you might piss off and lose a lot of people. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. They were never meant
Keep that
to
fire
be
burning.
Yeah, they were never meant to be in your life anyway. And I think that's the scary thing is your whole life will change once you have found that higher self, that authentic self, and start exuding that and not being afraid to exude that. Your life is going to change. And so that's scary for a lot of people. We as humans don't like change. So, but that's the one thing in life that is guaranteed, is that
change.
Everything changes all the time.
And your authentic self is going to change. You're going to, I mean, you're going to change how you
Absolutely.
feel comfortable with what you
Yeah.
share and how you interact with the world. And I think
It's all
it's the
learning.
beauty of life. It's all
Yeah,
learning.
you're just learning, but as long as you're sharing that in Kabbalah, because I'm researching it right now, it's sharing the light. How can you share the light? How can you share your light? And that's what it is. And the more you share, the more you're spreading it, and then the more people are gonna feel it.
Let's name this video "The Light of Authenticity."
Yes.
I like that. I think we should close here.
That. Yeah.
I think we talked about a lot of good stuff. And
Yeah. If there are any questions, as always, please post or please comment below and
like and subscribe to the
like
channel.
and subscribe to our
Tell
channel.
your friends.
This is how we get support. This is how we get support from people. Ezra and I are both artists, and we try to make a living with our art. And so the more people we can
These are my
spread.
shirts.
Yeah, these are
We're
his
rocking the Ezra
shirts.
shirt. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Vibe high, friends.
Yeah. Vibe high. Thanks
we'll see
for
you
joining.
at the next video. Bye.
Bye.